Hi guys, we're back to doing another reading today. So, for the entire week, it's been really weird for me, mostly because there's been like a lot of sun analogies. So, one day I went into the gym and there was like, "Here comes the sun, doo 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 doo," and that song was playing in the background. And I was like, that's just such a weird thing because usually when you go into at least my gym, I will notice like it's kind of like a heavy metal or more of like a more geared towards working out, I guess you could say. But this song was just so out of the blue. And one second. Oh my goodness. Okay. But it was just like super out of the blue. It was really weird. And so I was like, okay, whatever. Just kept working out, doing my thing. And then later I ended up going to the library and all of a sudden I'm in the line waiting and I hear the song again come on. And it was like, "Here comes the sun." And then all of a sudden, I kid you not, I look over and there was like a little advertisement thing and it said like, "Here comes the sun." And it was like a whole summer thing. And they were like, everybody was like super happy on it. I was like, okay, weird. And then this morning, I usually always put music on to kind of get me up, get me ready, and kind of get me dressed and stuff. And all of a sudden, I'm listening to this song. And this song has been on my playlist. Sometimes, like, my playlist is kind of weird. So I set it to where there'll be, like, songs that will rotate in the same for, like, a few months. And then all of a sudden, I'll leave my playlist and, like, new songs come in. But there's always, like, new songs always just being downloaded into this, like, random playlist. And so I've heard this song a few times, but I've never noticed this before until today. I was like in my kitchen doing something and the song came on, and all of a sudden I just hear like, so the song is by, it's called Drop the Games. And anyway, so it's says, "I've been seeing all, I've been seeing your soul. Give me things that I wanted you to know. Tell me things that you've done. I've been feeling old. I've been feeling cold. You're the heat that I've known. See, you are my sun." And I was like, huh. And I don't know, just kind of made me think like maybe there's something to that. So why not tap into that and kind of see if there is a message that not just maybe even me, but like other people might need to hear at this time. But it was like it was really weird though, just because literally I've been seeing like symbolisms of like sunflowers everywhere, suns everywhere, and yeah, it's just like, and bees too. I've been seeing bees, and so every time I think of like and it's interesting because they're all kind of like yellow, but yeah, I've been getting all kinds of happy symbols, I guess you could say. So I wanted to see. Yeah, they didn't even. Okay. Didn't even light. I'm sitting here struggling putting it back. There we go. Sometimes it's really hard to find it at an angle. Okay. So already starting off with the Justice card. And then we also have the King of Rods here. I don't know, to be honest with you too, like, I might start off with something different because I don't know if this, I wouldn't say if this is necessarily going to be for absolutely every person, but I'm very curious to know if I guess how I want to put it is, I don't know if this is going to be for like a romantic connection or if this is something for work, this is like something, it's like, I don't know, it kind of feels like a person because it's almost like every time I've gone out, it's almost as if it's insinuating like a person or like a place, like something where, I don't know. It's really hard to explain, but I feel like pulling these cards first, actually, before getting into tarot. I'm kind of thinking that that is the best course of action to take. I'm going to put this to the side. I've also been getting in my playlist like a lot, which is kind of interesting because this is now, and maybe I'll do different videos on this, but this is like, I'm a weird person. I like to think music and numbers is like a way that people or the universe connects to us because those are the things that like sway me and make me pay attention. And so I've noticed that on my playlist, it started off with just one song that's like, I basically like, I can't get you out of my head, to all of a sudden there's another song on my playlist and that's basically the same thing but in a different way. And now at this point, I have had about 7 songs just randomly all having that in the chorus. And when I heard this song, you know, the one I just mentioned, I heard 2, maybe 3 songs in a row before that last song that all had a different version of why they can't get that person out of their head. And so, and I don't know, so it just kind of made me feel like that was an interesting take. Love call. Someone expressing love, a message of love, thinking of you, and letting you know. So, yeah, something about not being able to get you out of their head. And then, so I feel like somebody definitely wants to talk. And I feel like this is going to be an interesting reading because I'm just kind of going off of the vibe completely and only the vibe. So I'm just trying to figure out how I want to put this on the board. How I just want to like lay it out on the table, you know? Okay. And it's also interesting because I kind of get the general vibe already, but it's like trying to put it into words is going to be kind of difficult for this reading, and I don't know why. I think it just is. Probably because this is coming from a perspective of either this is your guys' perspective or someone else that you're dealing with's perspective. But either or, I'm getting that this is kind of a difficult thing to talk about. Okay. So, whoever I am talking to, this feels kind of like a situation. So how do I want to lay it out? I almost get the impression that someone isn't necessarily a shy person, but there is a lot going on in this person's life that leads them to question the timing, question the situation, question if two people have two different morals or two different types of beliefs. Like, because we have the second house here, and the second house can be all about values and all about just things that you care about. So I feel like this person, their material wealth is not where they want it to be currently, so they're like stressing about finances, their savings, things that they own too, like things can be always breaking down or things always needing to be repaired, or there's always something that's kind of draining their pockets. Now, this individual could be dealing with, it's just something inconsistent. I would keep feeling that in the environment. But this individual is questioning if they are even, there's just something that feels chaotic, very, very, very chaotic in this situation. But we also got Leo, and Leos are the lovers of the zodiac. Typically, you know, they're really the ones that are there for people. They usually have a heart of gold. They can be considered arrogant and selfish, but honestly, most Leos I've met are really big givers, but a lot of them get used a lot, so I can see why some of them come off a certain way. However, I'm getting that this individual sees there's a tenderness here. And then we have the ninth house, which is all about seeking knowledge, seeking higher wisdom, education, but there's also a form of travel and exploring new places and exploring new, and it might not even be, it doesn't even fully feel physical. It also feels like in a metaphorical way as well. Like, yes, I do want to go out, but it feels more like is it possible to let your guard down with a person? It's like someone's debating if they have that or if they could do that. But also it just feels like a risk, right? Something is risky. But, we do have love call. But something is risky. You know what's funny? I've seen enough tarot channels or tarot readers, and I have always kind of never, I don't know. I guess for me, I've never really cared to do love readings because I'm like, oh, whatever, they're overdone, blah, blah, blah. But then when you actually start tapping into readings and you're just going with the energy, 9 times out of 10, it ends up always being some kind of relationship. And then if you think about it, everything is a relationship. The relationship you have with food, the relationship you have with money, the relationship you have with your body, the list goes on. And it's like everything you have is in relation to you. So I guess I've had to learn to kind of accept that sometimes. Sometimes things come off as a love reading, but also it can just be kind of almost anything. But this feels to me like someone and this doesn't even feel like someone that you've dated or have dated. This doesn't even feel like someone. This doesn't feel like somebody from the past that's coming around and trying to talk to you. This feels like someone else. Like this is either someone that you know, but you don't really know. Like you do know them, but you don't know them. If you've ever had conversations with this individual, that it could be more shallow level or surface level based, but it's not. But it almost feels like the person wants to have a deeper conversation, wants to have a deeper talk. It says reclaim your art. So things that make you passionate, things that you enjoy doing. Some of you guys might be getting back into things that you enjoy doing, and it's attracting other people towards you, or not even necessarily that. I just feel like somebody is maybe even inspired by you in some way. We have turn on the light. That's so interesting. It says love your body. So you scared me. Stop. I don't know, he got a little startled. Says give yourself the best. So I think you're changing, or someone is seeing you changing. Because it just really feels like somebody we have prayer, enlightenment, and mysticism. And then we also have insecurity. And then below that we have grief. But then below that we also have recovery. So it's funny because with turn on the light and enlightenment, it feels kind of like it's like learning to be yourself. And I don't ever believe that anybody can truly be enlightened. I believe there is multiple layers to enlightenment, and some in which are stepping stones throughout your life. And I don't know if you'll ever reach full enlightenment until maybe perhaps passing on, just because I feel like there's always different forms of enlightenment. I just don't think it's one end all be all. Changing and being a little bit better each day is reaching a little bit more of that form of enlightenment, where I think you see things from a total different perspective. Being like a mystic or mysticism, in my opinion, so mysticism is walking a path your whole life, trying to gain higher wisdom, more knowledge, trying to it's almost like finding yourself again, but doing so through learning things from the past, learning things that are more esoteric, right? It's like seeking a form of enlightenment within oneself and choosing to evolve. And maybe for some of you guys, you've prayed for an answer. And for some of you guys, it is something that is already naturally gifted to you. Everybody has some kind of gift, some kind of talent, something that they're good at. And this is going to answer your prayers. And for some of you guys, this is like a side message that somebody wants to give you a call. But now that the cards have been laid out and I had a second to soak it up, I feel like this is a self message. Like, here comes the sun is almost like indicating that you sticking to yourself, sticking to things that are important to you, not being afraid of certain outcomes, taking certain risks, it's paying off for you guys. You're going to figure something out, and it's going to help you with your savings and your finances. You're learning things too. You're studying new things that's going to help you. you're figuring out your style, you're figuring out your brand, you're figuring out who you are as a person. And I just feel like even though there's a struggle going on, there is a way for you to get out. Some of you guys maybe feel trapped at a work environment, or you feel trapped in something in your life and you're trying to find ways to work through it, and you're gonna find it. But going through this process is triggering a lot of insecurities and grieving things that we once thought would work out or that we thought would happen, or, getting over certain things that I wouldn't say was delusional, but maybe was what we were hoping instead of what was reality or what we perceive it to actually be. Okay. Ugh. Let's see. Like I'm doing everything. Also, I just kind of feel that, it's like when we dim our light all the time for people, and then over time it starts to wear on you. You start to feel kind of stressed out. You're feeling like you're not yourself. You almost feel like a sellout. It's like you're learning to no longer do that to yourself. We have here service. Yeah, see, your art form, what you have been praying for, what you've been asking for, is something you already obtain inside of yourself. This is something that you can do to help people. This is an actual service. So you can make money off of it. You can help actually people in the whole world. You can see it's like the whole world is there. It's like something about inner truth. Focus on the big picture. And look, it has a bee. I mentioned that earlier. You are more. So this is actually it's kind of awesome because it's something that you already know. This could be a hobby. This could be something that you've studied for a long time. Whatever this is, it's like you're more than ready. You're more than capable of doing it, but it's having to have that faith in yourself that you can do it, or that you have the ability to do it. It's in you. It's a pretty cool card. It's another lion, so it could be dealing with a Leo, but this also could be indicating even in August or Leo season, something could be taking off for you guys. Attract through glow. And then it also has metamorphosis. And then behind this one, it says, see beyond the past. So I feel like some of you guys are really changing things. You're really evolving. I kind of feel like it's the way that you're perceiving love too, like that's changing. And I think that's why we also have the love call, because the way that you're perceiving love, you could have been the type of person who could have had a lot of insecurities around love, and then you would say, oh, all people are the same, blah, 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 blah. And then you could have gotten with somebody who had a similar mindset to you. So then you both screwed each other over, or one person screwed the other person over because they have that really terrible mindset. And now you're changing your mindset. So because you're changing your mindset, it's almost like you're finding somebody that has a similar way of thinking like you. And that could also help you, whether this is through friendship, romance, or just meeting somebody that helps you shift a perspective change on relationships. But also, it's going to help you with your finances on the long run, because I feel like that's been such a fear and insecurity of yours, is not having enough resources or something going wrong with savings or just not having enough. But whatever this service thing is, it's going to change that completely. Okay. So we have here Beetle, good fortune. We also have Haystack, karma, you will reap what you have sown. And then we also have Cup, you should accept valid criticism. So maybe recently somebody could have given valid criticism. And then of course this could be what may have been muddying up the waters for you. It says forest, muddled, unclear thinking. And it's funny because we have here focus on the big picture. And the 9th house is all about big picture thinking. So instead of being very fixated in the details, expand outward and think about the bigger picture of the whole instead of just pieces of it. Okay. I feel like I want to do something else, but I don't think so. It's like doing everything but tarot on this. All oracles. All right. feels so... So we have the beaver at the bottom of the deck, and beavers are all about hard work. So I feel like hard work and everything and determination is paying off for you guys. But we have unicorn, but it's in the reverse. And this would be the ethereal symbol here, just the circle. So this is obviously like a more mystical creature, right? It's something that you would consider ethereal. So what I'm getting here is that you guys do not understand what's holding you guys back from good fortune, what's holding you back from things that you deserve, is not seeing your uniqueness and utilizing and capitalizing off of that. It's the parts of you that makes you stand out that you need to capitalize on. You see a lot of famous people, and what do they capitalize on? Their uniqueness, their different styles, their different artistic vibes that make them stand out. That is what you guys need to find. And once you find that inside yourself, all of a sudden things are going to just start working out for you guys. Things are going to just start happening really quickly. Because there is a need to, it's like some kind of need to fit in, or a need to, it's like dimming yourself down so that you make other people around you like you, or make other people feel comfortable around you. So we have here desires. And we have third eye. So it is, again, it's all in how you're perceiving the situation. Once you see the difference, like what is it that you actually, so if you think about it, what is it that you're actually desiring? Because once you can figure out what that is and see it for what it is, then it's no longer a blind spot for you. Then you can become more who you are meant to be. We also have faith. So this right now is asking, and this is kind of what's another thing, is it's a risky situation. It's like asking you to take that leap of faith. When something is becoming risky and it's like you feel like you have to calculate it and you're like, oh, well, I don't know if I can make this happen. That's when you have to be like, okay, well, I have to take the calculated risks to get to where I want. And it's like, well, do you want the sun? Do you want to be able to expand, change, to grow? Do you want something that's better than what you've had prior or before? Then you have to make different changes. You have to make different readjustments. That's very, very uncomfortable. Who wants that in life? Nobody wants to be getting out of their comfort zone. But when you can find your artistic spark, when you can figure out what makes you different and how to capitalize off of that, then it's like you're making money by doing things that you enjoy doing, but you're also making money by just being yourself. It's like being paid to exist. And that is a thing. So it's having to find that and having to work through the illusions that we place on ourselves, the limitations that we place on ourselves. Oh, well, I would do this, but blah, 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 blah. So I really like these cards. They are the Art of War cards. And I like it because it has like the front and the back, and it just, I have always been big on, I'm like a little bit of a weirdo. I like to learn things about like strategies, things that are like strategic. So I've learned quite a bit about like military strategies and things like that. And The Art of War is a classic. I've read 2 different versions of translation, and I believe I've listened to one or even a second different type of translation. There's just different ones, but it's really enlightening because you can learn a lot from it. People, when they think very limited on stuff, it's like, don't just look at it like, oh, well, that's only for like war. No, it's your everyday life, right? It's just teaching you different ways on how to be more, to think more outside the box, but to think, like, there's different ways in thinking. So there is strategic thinking, and then there is, I'm trying to think of the word. Trying to think of the oh man, it's gonna bug me now. Strategic thinking. I don't know, you guys. I can't think of it. That's gonna bug me now, though. It's like different foresight. Anyway, but there's different ways that you can think, and a soldier doesn't need to be strategic, right? The general needs to be strategic. So it's like learning different things that, like, they just need to learn how to give instruction, like take the instruction and use it. But there's just different ways of prioritizing your beliefs and your thoughts. And once you can figure out how to work smarter, not harder, but also figuring out exactly what it is that you want in your life, like how do you want your life to go without the opinions of others? One thing I'm trying to do is not ask people their opinion. Just go with the flow, just figure it out and see where it takes you. Okay, so we got 2. Okay. Keep your fights short. Sun Tzu's advice that your objective should be to win the war, not keep winning the small battles. It is great advice for couples. Say your piece politely and with your respect. Listen to theirs in the same manner. Then move forward towards peace. Don't pretend it didn't happen. Deal with it then and there and leave it behind you. Sun Tzu said, there is no instance of a country having benefited from prolonged warfare. Treat others as you want them to treat you. So the golden rule. The way you treat people will dictate how you are treated. Although some will always be mean while others will always be kind, if you treat people with patience, kindness, and understanding, you will live a happier life. If you are loyal and caring, your friends will be loyal and caring to you. Sun Tzu said, regard your soldiers as your children, and they will follow you into the deepest valleys. So that is the advice. But I believe that, finding ways in how we connect with others, figuring out what makes us so different. I just feel like things are finally falling into place, but it's chaotic, right? Like when you first do something, when you're asking for something new, when you're asking for change, expect there to all of a sudden be chaos, right? It's like when you say, okay, I want to learn to be patient. Well, guess what? Now people, places, things are going to come into your life that's going to teach you to be patient. You don't just all of a sudden become enlightened and now you're patient. So things take time, and learning to be kind, learning to treat others how you want to be treated, but not only that, figuring out what makes you different is also a great way of being able to figure out, like, yeah, this is me, and you have the right to have your own boundaries and barriers, but so does other people. And it's finding a way to bridge that and being able to communicate with others and connect more. But with this energy, what I'm getting is the sun is coming. Positive things are happening because of the way that you perceive yourself. Being kinder to yourself is going to really shift things for you, because I am getting that for a lot of you guys, you're finding something that's going to help you be of service to others, and it's going to give you a deeper meaning of yourself as well. So figuring out how you are of service, what makes you so different and what makes you so unique, because the way that you're viewing yourself currently is something that isn't very unique, isn't very special. You're blocking yourself from reaching higher potential. So being able to see past the lies and the illusions that you put on yourself, and even perhaps what other people say, because a lot of people don't want you to evolve and to move forward. And one more thing before I go, I don't know why, but this is at the bottom of the deck, and I felt like I needed to read this one as well. Argue with respect. This is interesting because it goes so well with keeping your fights short. So there's definitely a message here for somebody that says, hey, if you want to evolve, if you want to get out of this cycle that you feel like you're stuck in consistently with yourself and other people, then it's learning to respond, not react. It's learning to listen without prejudging. Argue with respect. If both parties can remain respectful of one another during an argument, then the resolution will be something worth having. A serious argument can end in the destruction of a relationship, leaving devastation for both the defeated and the conqueror. An authentic victory is a victory over aggression, one that respects the enemy and renders further conflict unnecessary. Sun Tzu said, "In the practical art of war, the best thing of all is to take the enemy's country whole and intact. To shatter and destroy it is not so good. So too it is better to recapture an army entire than to destroy it. To capture a regiment and detachment or a company entire than it is to destroy them." So it's better to keep things intact than to destroy it. So that is the advice that I have for you guys. Hopefully this helps you in some way. Just letting you guys know that you are where you need to be currently, and the struggles that you're going through is something that is going to help you gain higher insight and even work on patience, working on building yourself up into a better version of yourself. So thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you have a great and wonderful day. Like, share, subscribe, and even turn on the notification bell. Come on, guys. It's not that hard. Thank you. Have a good one. Bye.